everyone, this is Anna from Savvy Cat Realty, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Portuguese elections in 2025. So for those of you who don't know, Savvy Cat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that helps expats move to Portugal from a lifestyle perspective. We'll help you figure out what's the best location, the best neighborhood, the best place that fits your lifestyle. We work with both rentals and purchases and support you in all steps of the way, from figuring out your visa to choosing the location in neighborhood, getting your property, getting your network, getting your property verified, getting all the legal framework and all the protection you need. So basically, we are here for you all the steps of the way until you are set up in your new home in Portugal. So about today's topic, which is the elections in Portugal. This has been fun. So a lot of things I'm going to say in this video are going to be personal opinions because it's politics, it's about opinions and values. And I'm going, of course, to state the facts and tell you what has actually happened. But I'm also going to let slip a bit of my own opinion, and it's very hard to not do that. So, Portuguese elections, what has happened? So our last government fell because of a vote of trust, and this was a very fun thing. So basically, there was this monthly payment of 3,500 euros that was discovered towards our prime minister and was questioned. And our prime minister, instead of answering what this payment was about, went for a vote of trust and failed the vote of trust, and the government diluted, and then we had to have elections again. So, what happened in these elections in the past Sunday, 18th of May 2025? What happened is, curiously, the same government, the same part that failed the vote of trust actually gained deputies in these elections, which was honestly very unexpected for me, at least. So they gained 9 deputies. So we have the three main parties in Portugal. There's 230 deputies in parliament. They get elected by district. Each district elects according to population and according to a rule. I don't remember the name of the rule right now, but it's made by, I think it was a Belgian lawyer that basically is set up in a way to make things fairer, all things good. And this year's election, I think the abstinence was also slightly less than the previous one. This year was 35, which is still pretty high, but I think the last one was closer to 40, so that's positive at least. And like I was saying, our three main parties, this party, which is now AD, which is a coalition of parties, lost the last government because of a vote of trust, and yet gained 9 more deputies in this election, which honestly was not what I was expecting to happen at all. Then what used to be the second biggest party in Portugal, PS, lost drastically this election. They lost 20 deputies, which was once again not what I was expecting given what happened in the last year. And the Chega party, which is currently the third biggest party, or questionably the second or third biggest party, depending on the final results this year, gained, also I think it was, I don't know if it was 5. Anyway, they gained more deputies and are currently tied with PS. Both of them have 58 deputies elected. So they are tied for second place in parliament. And the only votes that we are currently waiting for are the external votes. We get 2 deputies from Portuguese people living within the European Union and 2 deputies from Portuguese people living outside of the European Union. So these 2 deputies will untie the second second place party here in Portugal. And the new government will only be announced somewhere around the 10th of June, maybe between probably the 10th and 15th of June, somewhere around that. And I'm curious. So in truth, things have not changed at all. Things are more or less the same. We still have a party that won relatively to the other parties, but doesn't have majority. However, our president is saying that they probably will be allowed to rule, but they will have to present their proposal, and the proposal will have to go to a vote of trust. So I'm very looking forward to see what this happens. So a lot of people are worried about the far-right party gaining power. This is a very valid concern. I am openly against far-right. I am not a fan of Chega. I think they have some interesting policies on the economic side of things, but their social policies are very, very concerning. And I think a lot of people are not aware of how concerning they are. They are making policies to privatize health insurance and limit health insurance, public health insurance in Portugal. They are making exclusive policies towards LGBTQ and even women's rights, prohibiting abortion, and a number of other concerning things, like also limiting the freedom of press, limiting, setting something what is called hate of the country, what could be considered a crime, but it's super vague, and it would be a very dictatorship way to get people in prison for saying things they don't agree with. So I definitely don't want these guys in power, but I don't think they are close to getting power, okay? So that's the bright side of things. So in that way, I think things have not changed a lot in Portugal, which has its pros and cons. I think that if this government holds, which is an if, given what I said before, this could be an interesting balance between AD and Chega, where Chega would be pushing for change, but AD and the other parties would not let the extreme policies and the hateful policies of Chega go through. So to put at ease a lot of people that are probably concerned in that, I do not think Portugal will be starting making extreme far-right policies anytime soon. There are probably not going to be drastic changes to immigration laws, and no one is going to be deported from the country in different ways than it was at the moment, which is honestly quite hard to get deported from the country. So I don't think that's going to change either. So overall, at the moment, the governmental situation is basically the same as it was last year. So we will see how things develop over the next month. Like I said, now the parties will be heard by the president, and then he will determine whether or not he will let AD form government, or if they will have to get a coalition. And if they do get allowed to form a government, then they will have to go to a vote of trust. And I'm very curious to see how that goes, because, like I said, the last government fell because AD failed a vote of trust. So I am honestly not too hopeful that this situation will actually get resolved. I wish it will. I wish things would get better. I wish they actually make good policies to stimulate the internal economy and solve a lot of very needed problems that are making the cost of life for Portuguese people much higher than their salaries, and the quality of life internally declining. which externally the quality of life here is amazing, but if you are living on a Portuguese salary, not so much. So that's probably one of the biggest problems in Portugal. And that is one of the big reasons that Chega is gaining power. Like all far-right parties, they are finding a scapegoat, and the scapegoat is being immigrants. So this is a trend across far-right, like we all know. Finding someone to blame is a lot easier than taking responsibility and finding solutions. And the far-right parties have always demonstrated an extreme ability of weaponizing hate and frustration. So think very carefully whether it is worse to lose our freedom because you want change. I personally, of course, think it isn't. And I think most Portuguese people will think it isn't. And I also believe that a lot of people that voted for Chega voted because they are saturated of AD and PS being basically the only viable options in the past 30, 50 years. And they wanted something new. I don't think that something new should be Chega. But as long as they are in check and not in majority and just hold a part of parliament, I don't think things are concerning yet. Things are still pretty much under control. Portugal is not going to go extreme far right anytime soon. So let's see how things develop. More likely than not, we will keep having pretty neutral, slow politics as we usually do. Which once again, I'm not sure if it's the most fortunate thing. But it is what we have, and I definitely prefer that to a far-right dictatorship government. So, in the end, like I said, I put a lot of my own personal opinion here. It's okay if you have a different opinion. Everyone is allowed to have their own. I would love to hear your feedback. This is always a very controversial topic, politics, isn't it? So we are here every week with updates. If you have updates about Portuguese life and cities and tips. If you find these useful, do subscribe to our channel. You can always check our services on our website at www.savvycatchrealty.com or contact us directly at contact@savvycatchrealty.com if you find that you need any further clarification. So I hope this was helpful. I'm very curious to see how things develop, and I hope to see you all next week. Bye!